Yes, we got a little sports to talk about. Tell me something. How many people out there became fans of NASCAR this week? Oh, it's something to talk about. Mm-hmm. Guess what? Bethune-Cookman University on their way to the SWAC. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have the former captain, former Hall of Famer Willie Jackson on the show today. Also going to have one of the best quarterbacks to ever wear the maroon and gold, Mr. Matt Johnson. He'll also be on the show. But I got one of my homeboys, one of my roadies, one of my Little League baseball player buddies sitting in and co-hosting, Mark E. Lewis. Mark, welcome to the show.
Daryl, it's good to be here, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, man.
Tell me something now. You're a very, very talented guy. They tell me you got some sports art out there that's absolutely awesome.
Well, I've been dabbling in hero art over the last couple of years, but basically what's given me some worldwide acclaim now is my motorsports art, because I was my gosh, we grew up in the shadow of Daytona International Speedway, when we were kids, and I gravitated to it real early, and racing got in my blood. It's just something that never left me, and so I came back after so many years. Came back home as an adult to work at Daytona for 15 years, in PR. And when we finally parted ways, I had to do something, find something to do with my life. I was still artistic, and I still, I still had a real passion for the sport. So I parlayed those two things into my career after career.
Okay.
So now I'm a motorsports artist. And I've gotten some international acclaim, done some pretty good things with it.
Before we get into real deep stuff about the nooses and Bubba Wallace, tell me, last time I saw you, you had your socks jacked up.
Right.
We were playing Babe Ruth baseball.
It wasn't the last time I saw you, but it's been a long time.
Cook's Gallery. Yeah, you were just joking. Cook's Gallery as kids, man, we were some excellent baseball players growing up.
Everybody in this town had to be. Here's the thing about it. People talk about how good the athletes of today are. But I grew up in Pine Haven. You grew up
Fulton Street, right across the street from Pine Haven.
Exactly. Everybody, we call that area, the Pine Haven area.
Right.
All of us would play baseball in the middle of Pine Haven.
If y'all let us.
Y'all
let us come over there.
If you were good enough, and you were able to, play with the Becktons and the Scotts and all of those guys.
Yes, sir.
You were more than welcome to play.
And the Knights.
Tim Knight, all those guys. I mean, Mike Knight, all of those guys, man, incredible. But all of those guys were at least three sport athletes.
All of us were.
All of us. If you couldn't, everybody played football, everybody played basketball, everybody played baseball.
That's right.
And that baseball is a legacy that was basically handed down from the fact that this is the first place Jackie Robinson ever played.
Preach up in here, boy.
Ever played professional baseball. So professional baseball was huge. Baseball in general was huge in the Daytona Beach area, and it filtered down to us when we were growing up in the 60s and the 70s.
And we even played high school. I think I played over at Mainland. You went to Seabreeze?
I went to Seabreeze.
You was over at Seabreeze playing. We had guys like Ricky Scott and other guys that in our circle. You had Randy Vance playing over at Father Lopez.
Exactly.
So we played some excellent baseball. So growing up, once you graduate and get out into the world, where'd you go?
Well, 12 years in the United States Air Force. Woo! Proud to serve. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's something my mom's particularly proud of. And then after 12 years, I had 5 years in Los Angeles pursuing an acting career.
You were trying to act in LA?
Yeah, man. Got a couple of gigs. It just didn't stick.
You was on Soul Plane? You was in that movie?
No, I didn't do the Soul Plane thing. It seems like everybody and their mama was in that one, but not me. No. Okay. But did some commercials with Nike and Gatorade, and got to do some cameos on film, and did a whole bunch of stage plays, produced a little bit, directed a little bit.
Talented.
Yeah, just trying, man. I wanted to make it work. It doesn't work out for everybody, and after 5 years, I just didn't have it in me anymore. I wanted to do something. I wanted to be a part of a team again.
Okay.
Because that's what the Air Force did for me. And sports coming up, you really felt like you were part of a group. Acting's the loneliest thing I've ever attempted in my life, and I just wanted to get away from it. I wanted to get back on a team.
Okay, so then you moved back east
Yeah.
to the world's most famous.
Yeah, back home, and Mama put me up in the house for a little while I got back on my feet. The late Yvonne Scarlett Golden, who was like an aunt to me, got me a job interview with Daytona International Speedway, and for 15 years, that's what I did.
So let me tell you something now. Not many of us,
Right.
of our hue, of our melanin, know a lot about or even venture out to the speedway.
Right,
We
true.
pass by it every day going on our merry way, going to Tango Mall or whatever, but there are not many African-American people who worked for NASCAR. Tell us about your job.
Well, I was a PR representative for the Speedway for 12 of the 15 years that I was there, and I came in at a time when the sport was trying to become more inclusionary, and basically what I mean, you go out there and you don't see an abundance of black people. You may see a smattering or two of us out there. It's usually a couple or maybe a dad bringing his son out, exposing him to it for the first time, but you don't see, us in mass. And so NASCAR tried to address that in the early 2000s. And I was part of that movement of hirings within International Speedway Corporation, which no longer exists anymore. NASCAR absorbed it, and NASCAR itself. And I was also coming in at a time that there were black drivers actually trying to make it in the sport. One of my best friends on the planet is Bill Lester. Bill is one of a handful of African-American drivers to ever drive at the Cup Series level. And he broke in trucks. And I got a chance to get acquainted with Willie T. Ribbs, who was a two-time Trans Am champion. And some other guys that were really trying their hand, at the sport at a very challenging time. Still, we're talking about the late 1990s into the early 2000s. It was still tough for a black man to make it in, to even get into the sport, because you need sponsorship money. And it's kind of funny how that works out. You need corporate dollars in order, for somebody to take a chance on you. But corporations, as far as black drivers are concerned, in NASCAR, corporations don't look at black drivers as being not so much legitimate, but worth the risk, because they don't have a following of fans behind them to eventually compromise the dollars that companies want to make. In other words, I mean, Vince Carter, and we'll get into Vince a little bit later on. Vince, dynamic basketball player, world-class athlete, right? As a basketball player, maybe Cheerios or Nike or somebody wouldn't have any problems, sponsoring a Vince Carter on the basketball level. Put him in motorsports, even though he's just as talented. They don't think that he, basically would generate the kind of monetary response needed to make it, to make it work in the sport. So that's what these guys were up against. And I saw that struggle firsthand.
Okay. The last few days, a month ago yesterday, George Floyd was killed.
Yes.
And since then, everything has flipped. Who would have thought a month later, we'll all be talking about the Confederate flag, the NASCAR, and how many people of our color now are NASCAR fans because of the stand that NASCAR took.
Well, it had to happen sooner or later. And I've got a like an odd take on it. I can remember as a kid coming out to see Richard Petty's last win at Daytona in what used to be known as the Firecracker 400. And President Reagan was in office at the time. And it was the first time a president of the United States had ever attended a NASCAR event. And the reason he did it is because there was this voting demographic known as NASCAR dads. And the Republican Party had really seized on this. Of course, he was coming up for re-election. And so they felt like they would get a big bump, especially in the southeastern United States, among NASCAR dads, if he was to attend a live event at Daytona International Speedway. And so he showed up, and true to form, it happened. And then all of a sudden, the GOP seized upon that event.
Wow.
And made them, and made NASCAR a part of its permanent voting block. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it became, that's when the sport really came political. And it actually changed. There's a lot of things the GOP liked about NASCAR. The Southern whites, a religious voting bloc, a really conservative corner of America that they basically latched onto, and they kept latched onto. And it's one of the reasons why they never said anything about that flag that NASCAR banned, because they knew how important it was to Southern voters. So they would never want. They never wanted to rock that boat, so to speak. Oh no, bruh, seriously, they never wanted to rock that boat. Never wanted to.
So basically, what Bubba did, he pulled the rug from under him, because when he went out and stood against the Confederate flag and stood up for Black Lives Matter, and the people rallied behind him. Now we've seen the pictures at Talladega of the noose, and it's a noose. It's a noose.
There's no doubt about it.
But then NASCAR says, well, it's a high security area. We should be able to tell who did it, and they say they knew that the noose was there.
Really?
So what's your take on what NASA is saying? NASCAR is saying?
Well, if the FBI comes in and they investigate, their word in the long run, what their findings are beyond reproach, because that's a tremendous step to take to have the FBI come out and actually investigate a hate crime. To their credit, even though the FBI said basically there was basically nothing to this that they could find, NASCAR stepped. Or basically remained in solidarity with Bubba. And there were a lot of people, within the sport, from Steve Phelps, who's now the CEO of NASCAR, to those who were in the garage area, who were team owners and acquaintances of Wallace, who basically said, okay, no matter what anybody says, we're standing with you. Exactly.
The NASCAR has a guy, Brandon Thompson. He's
I know Brandon.
He's the guy who's over inclusion with the community. Right. And then you got John Cohen.
Right.
He's also a black car owner, NASCAR owner.
Brandon and I. Brandon came into the sport about 5 years after I did. One of my jobs was to run Victory Lane after the events concluded, and Brandon was working in NASCAR marketing at the time. He knows how branding works. He knows how marketing works. He's been in the trenches, so to speak, with all of the athletes, because there's so many African Americans who work at every level of the sport on pit teams. The traveling show. These guys are ex-football players.
A young lady too from Norfolk that was.
She was an official. But NASCAR, quite as is kept, outside of the driving aspect of the sport, they have dozens of athletes who are African Americans who work on pit road, slinging tires, and basically working in the pits. And let's see, 4 years ago, when the Kaepernick issue first came up, and there was, the NFL was basically at odds with itself over kneeling. NASCAR was quick at that time to say that any athlete that kneels during the national anthem will be suspended.
Wow. You know, in a couple of weeks, not in July. The firecracker is not there anymore. It's in August now, right? I'm gonna bring you back.
Oh, thanks.
And we're gonna talk some more about NASCAR. But I got a tune I want you to hear.
Okay, great.
Tell me if you recognize this tune right here. Let's listen. I'm gonna give you one guess. Who you listening to?
First of all, you're listening to the greatest band ever. The Pride.
The Pride. Hey, check this out.
Yeah.
The Pride just jumped ship.
I know.
Going over to the SWAC conference.
Daryl, I don't know how I feel about it,
gonna be
man.
good.
Oh, man. I don't know, man. I'm kind of...
Check this out. I got a young man on the line.
Okay.
Used to be the captain of the Cats back in the 70s.
All right.
Man, he was an enforcer at Free Safety.
Okay.
This dude right here was one of my mentors.
Oh, cool.
He's a Hall of Famer at BCU. Welcome to the show, Willie Jackson. Willie, are you there?
I'm here. How you doing, Mr. Natil?
Hey, bro, how you doing, little big bro?
I was just a little bro. We appreciate you giving us time to come on and speak with you this morning.
Hey, let me tell you something. Your Facebook page is always jumping. You always got something to say about SWAC, MEAC, and the Celebration Bowl. So talk to me.
Well, basically, I know everybody's heard the information that Bethune-Cookman is moving over to the SWAC. And that was a no-brainer, I think, because I think, Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman are joined by the hip. I mean, we both schools earn a lot of money participating in the Class A, so we got to keep that going for survival.
You know, we're looking at this COVID thing, man, and it don't look good this year for football. What you think?
Well, basically, right now, we're still in a holding pattern because we don't know. Nobody's made any decisions yet, but it's getting close. We're going to have to do something. At this point, we actually don't know. But as far as personally, I don't think we're going to do a whole season. It might be an abbreviated season, but it's according to what the scientists say and things like that. So we just got to wait on that right now.
There's a possibility that I heard that football could possibly be in the spring. You know, possibly January, February, March, could possibly play the season.
I heard that too, and that would be interesting. It'll be a change. I mean, but now what we're going to do with basketball and baseball and things like that?
Yeah,
you know, you got to look at that too. So,
so
I don't think we're going to have football season and the Final Four in the same time. That might kind of be
that'd be crazy.
A situation that we have to look.
Okay, you're always giving an analysis about how the Celebration Bowl plays a part in HBCU sports. You know, we used to have the Classic in Atlanta when we had the Heritage Bowl, and you see now that Grambling and Southern, they're playing their game in New Orleans the same time the playoffs start, and you have some issues with that, right?
No, I don't have any issues with it, but now that's another thing we have to realize. You know, as Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M move to the SWAC, but that kind of like eliminates them from going to the playoffs,
right? Exactly.
Because now we've taken away what they're taking away the Celebration Bowl because ESPN, I mean, they're in business to make money, and the MEAC conference will not be a viable conference now with North Carolina A&T, Hampton, Bethune-Cookman, and Florida A&M leaving.
Right.
That's a hole. Big hole.
That's almost a conference itself. Basically, so now we don't have a so-called like college championship game anymore, and the SWAC will be the only Division I black football conference because the NBAC will fold.
It's going to fold. It's going to fold. Not enough teams playing football to be still stay Division I status.
Right, correct. So I think that's going to have the Celebration Bowl was it did real well. If you go the last 4 years, 5 years, I think it started in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. And I've attended every one of them because I support HBCU football.
Yes, you do.
And it's a part of my life. We have a group that we get together every year. We made it an annual thing. We have a HBCU Christmas party the day before the game, and we've had people from Alcorn and A&T over to the house, and it's just people from everywhere. Wear your T-shirt and come in. So it's going to be something missed, but there's other things we probably need to do now. Moving on from that.
Okay, let me ask you this question here. You have an opportunity right now to brainstorm and build your own conference. The SWAC now could be a super conference for HBCU. You can combine the SIAC and the CIAA in your Division II. You can play a playoff between the SIAC and the CIAA, and you can take the other 8 teams in the SWAC and create a national champion. And you can get a TV deal, possibly with NBC Sports. How would you like to see that?
Well, now, I would love to see it, but now, can we do it? Because now you're talking about the Division II schools moving up to Division I and being
FCS, right?
Being at FCS, or the others, the SWAC conference and the schools remaining in the MEAC move down to Division II.
Keep the Division II as Division II. Keep the Division I team as Division I. You can have a Division I black national champion, and you can have a Division II black national champion.
The obstacle in all of this is still, and I think hopefully Willie agrees with me because I'm going out on a limb here. Recruiting. When I'm going into some young man's house at the high school level, trying to get him to come to Bethune-Cookman University, his parents or he may ask me, do I have a chance to compete for an NCAA title? If we perpetuate this the way we have over the last decade, the last couple of decades, the answer will be no, because these teams will not be eligible for NCAA playoff berths. And isn't the entire reason you're in the NCAA in the first place the chance to play for an NCAA title? I don't know if Willie agrees with me, but, that's the way I've always felt about it.
Well, basically, the NCAA, when you're talking about FCS football, they've always, and you can look back over the time period, even when the North Carolina A&T won a couple of times, but even Bethune-Cookman got into the conference, got into the playoffs.
Right.
If you go in the kid's house and say, well, we won't be able to pay a college scholarship. For championship, that ought to affect them. They might not want to get into that, but the thing is, but if you go into a kid's house and say, well, you can participate in like the Celebration Bowl. That was a recruiting point for I talked to Sam up in A&T and said, man, that's why he got a lot of guys. So they could, because they were on TV. Matter of fact, and I hope I'm not swaying from the question here, but like A&T, if you take A&T's student enrollment after they went to the Celebration Bowl, it went up. I mean,
almost 20,000
went up tremendously.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if you get on TV in a bowl game or a playoff, you have those kids watching.
Mm-hmm.
So
your automatic bid is gone if you take the Celebration Bowl berth, right? Your automatic bid is gone, and black or HBCU. Well, for the SWAC
doesn't have an automatic bid.
Well, they did not have an automatic bid at the time they decided to commit to the bowl. So
no, the SWAC automatic bid, even at a point,
mm-hmm.
the NBA, remember the Heritage Bowl would be the SWAC champion.
Okay, right.
And the NEAC second or third team, because the other two teams, like I think one year, A&T and maybe South Carolina State went to the playoffs, and then Cookman played in the Celebration Bowl because they finished third. They played Southern, if y'all can remember that.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm an old man, so I kind of remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that too.
but here's the thing about it is, it's like unless it was the Celebration Bowl or the Heritage Bowl or bust, because you weren't getting any at-large bids out of the SWAC or the MEAC.
Right.
And so, and that's the jeopardy that you're in. You know, when the college presidents, and that's basically who voted for this process, for this national championship game to be played, when they voted in unison with that, basically they took away any chance at their teams getting at-large bids. And there were some good teams out there, from Jackson State, BCU, North Carolina A&T, Prairie View, exactly, that weren't able to get into the NCAA FCS playoffs due to that. And I thought that was
the thing too. The thing too. Now and we just got to be honest with ourselves. I remember a couple of years ago when Prairie View didn't win the SWAC championship, so they couldn't have went to the playoffs. There's about 4 teams that went to the playoffs had worse records than Prairie View. So you got to consider that too. Mm-hmm. So just because you playing in the HBCU conference and I'm playing in maybe the Big South, I could be 7-4. You could be 9-2.
Right.
But I'm going to get a bid.
Right.
And I don't know what you call that, but I would call it. It's kind of like it's not too high advantage for them to invite us because they don't. I mean, it's just, if you look in the history of, like, if you had teams, maybe North Carolina A&T win, and the only way they won, they beat Central, but Central only lost that one game. Mm-hmm. But they would give it to a lesser team at large bid than the Black Conference.
Exactly.
So when you're looking at the landscape right now, Jack, you got Norfolk, Morgan, North Carolina Central, and South Carolina State left in the MEAC. What do those schools do? Because Hampton gone to the Big South, A&T's gone. Where do those schools go?
Well, I think I talked to somebody from South Carolina State the other day. And
you got Buddy Pugh cell phone number. I know you do. Go ahead.
But I think they're going to go to the Big South.
Wow.
They have no other choice.
Yeah, they don't.
Because now, but you're still going to have, I guess, the games played. Because remember, I remember when I played, we was in the SIAC, and then I think South Carolina State was in the CIAA at the time. With Division II. We didn't play them every year. We played them like every other year or something like that. So you'll still have Cookman playing them maybe once in a while. So those things could happen. But right now, even did you guys hear about Delaware State
going to the NEC?
Yeah, he's looking to move. So
Yeah.
Wow.
But
that's
Delaware State announced their move before we did.
Wow.
And that's the reason really why we just
Wow.
came out and said we're going to go too. Because Delaware State has been saying for the last few years they wanted to move out. They announced theirs before we announced ours.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, I mean, last year we saw two things happen. We saw Savannah State leave the MEAC to go to Division II. And we saw, we also, FAM announcing that they were going to the SWAC before we did.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm thinking more than anything else is the MEAC still has some validity as a conference. SIAC teams now may be looking to move to be absorbed into the conference as well. The SIAC is still boasting teams with great HBCU football tradition like Albany State, Fort Valley State, to name a few, if I'm not mistaken. Is Tuskegee still
Yeah.
in the SIAC?
But the validity of it. Go ahead.
is in the Western. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the number of sports that you
Right.
need to be Division One, and the facilities and the money. Will those guys want to leave Division II just to go replace the MEAC? I mean, they're doing fine now in the SIAC. You know, you got Central State is the furthest school north, then Ohio. They're in the SIAC, but the SIAC is a tight.
Right.
You got Tuskegee, Morehouse. You got some tight teams. up there.
Some nice teams.
Now,
It's interesting.
now, cutting in there now, that might be something that we should look into. SIAC and the CIAA.
Right.
Because most of like Virginia Union and Winston-Salem and all those, now they go to the Division II playoffs. You know, they get an automatic bid, I think. But they might have a.
Okay, I got something special for you, Willie. I got a guy. I know you know him very, very well. Took the Wildcats a long way at quarterback. I call him the putty boy quarterback from Fort Lickerdale, Florida. Mr. Matt Johnson, are you there?
Yes, I am. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, Matt?
Hey, Matt.
I'm blessed. I can't complain.
Willie, that's your boy right there,
Yes,
Willie.
sir. How you doing, Mr. Matt? Now, listen, I always think about Matt Johnson. He got hurt in the game, and I think we lead. I forgot the score, and he got hurt. My heart hit my feet. You know, because that was the school. That was the time that I was hoping they win that game and break our 75 season record and go undefeated. That broke my heart.
So if Matt doesn't get hurt, we already got 10 in a row. We'll be going for 11.
Right.
this year.
Yeah,
If
right.
Matt doesn't get hurt in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So Matt,
I remember that well.
So Matt, you've been a coach over at BCU. You've done some high school work. What are you doing now?
Currently, I'm a dean at FCC. I'm venturing out into the private quarterback realm.
Oh
Training
man.
quarterbacks privately. So I mean, it's exciting. It's new. I asked God to order my steps, and I feel this is the way. So I'm embracing it, and I'm loving it so far.
You know, I remember. I'm going to tell this story. I remember when you were a freshman at Bethune. I'm doing radio, and I'm standing next to you on the sideline. I mean, you got the Under Armour on, your shoes spatted, and you got the black eye. You got your headphones on, and I whispered in your ear, "You're a pretty boy quarterback."
I mean, at that time I wasn't playing, so you might as well look good.
You want to look good. You looking good, boy. Matt, you know when the coaching change came and Coach Jenkins came, what did it do to Wildcat football? What was the difference from when Wyatt left and then Jenkins came in? What was the difference?
I would say it was a new perspective. I think just the schematic change allowed a lot of people to pull things out of them that we can maximize. And, you know, the coaching staff is another thing that he put together, and he had a lot of great guys on the staff, so they were able to coach and pull some things out of players that was there, just from a different perspective, you know, and a set of rules. And I mean, just overall, he put his stamp on it, and he allowed a lot of great guys who come together and coach their positions individually. And I think as a collective unit, we were able to play at a high level.
You quarterback that speedway offense. That thing was high octane. I mean, we were running 4 plays in less than 20 seconds. We haven't really seen that the last few years. Did you run that in high school, that offense?
Not to that speed. A lot of the plays were similar, but not to that extent where we were that fast. I mean, we did have tempos that we got into, but I mean, that was a special time. You know what I mean? A lot of guys were working hard, and it all came together where we were that efficient, but it wasn't by choice. The practices were scheduled that way, and that was just the way of life. It was a philosophy.
Matt, that was an offense that's basically designed to get small passing gains and turn them into big plays due to the athletes that you had on the field.
No doubt.
How hard was it to make that transition from the Wyatt Bone offense, which is basically a multiple run offensive set?
Well, I mean, I can speak for myself. It was harder for me to learn the option than it was the second part of the the spread.
Because you were a passer in high school.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
Okay, Matt. Matt, before you came on, we were talking about the Wildcats moving over to the SWAC. What's your take on that?
I mean, doesn't matter. I mean, they're still gonna be playing football, right? So,
exactly. Right.
I don't get into all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So, Willie, we all know that the SWAC travels very good. Anytime we play a SWAC team, because I remember on the SWAC MEAC Challenge, we played Alcorn a couple years here in Daytona, and the visitor side was almost full of Braves fans. The SWAC travels very, very well. Mm-hmm. So, Willie, what would you have to tell BCU alumni? Because they listening. What you got to tell the BCU alumni about what we got to do next as far as supporting these cats out west now? We got to go to Houston, Prairie View, Alabama, and stuff like that.
We have to step up. If we're going to compete with them, we're going to compete on the football team, but we got to compete fan-wise and sport-wise too. Because, like Daryl, when we played Alcorn in that SWAC challenge, man, I'm saying, well, where did all these people come from?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter if it's an 8-10 hour drive, man. They show up. Silly, and we went. I don't know if you guys went to the MEAC SWAC Challenge last year when we played Jackson State
in Atlanta. I was there.
That's why ESPN, John Grant. I spoke to him, man. He was so happy that the game was a sellout. Because I think that was the first time it ever was. Those two schools did very well. But now it's going to change because the MEAC has all but died. But yeah, what I'm telling the Wildcats saying, we have to step up and support our teams. Well, I know I'll be there in my group.
I'll be there.
We're going to be there. In my group, and my group was about 20. All those old Wildcats from the 70s. We're gonna be there. So what I'm telling all the young folks, we need just to support our Wildcats, and hopefully one day we'll get into the playoff system and win a championship. But now we need to just support and show what Wildcats are made of.
Okay, quickly, Matt. Tell the folks about the training that you're doing. I know you got some great kids that you're working with right now. Tell the folks how they can get in contact with you if they want to for training.
So my Facebook is Matt Willie Beeman Johnson.
Willie Beeman.
And my Instagram is Coach Willie Beeman 13.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a lot of stuff on social media at the moment. We are currently closing the first camp, and then the next camp will be opening up in July. We don't have the dates yet, but that's something they can look forward to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I got the Hall of Famer, free safety, Willie Jackson, and one of the best pretty boy quarterbacks you ever want to see in your life, Matt Johnson on the line. I thank both of you guys for calling. We got to go to break. I love y'all. Hail Wildcats. Hail Wildcats.
Hail Wildcats. Love you too, my man. Appreciate it.
Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Guys, we got about 30 seconds. We're going to go to the break. You're listening to the Locker Room.
The station for gospel music on FM at 106.3 and online at joy1063.com.
PC 101 Services, located at 955 Orange Avenue, Unit 170B in Daytona Beach, specializes in individual and corporate taxes during this tax season. They also specialize in notary and credit repair services. PC 101's tax professionals can meet with you to discuss refund advance options, and e-file is also available. For more information, 386-310-8115. That's 386-310-8115, or via email at PC101services@gmail.com. PC 101 Services in Daytona Beach for your tax, notary, and credit repair needs. Styles 101 Beauty Salon and Barbershop, located at 955 Orange Avenue in Daytona Beach, is a salon for all your hair care needs. Styles 101 specializes in hair extensions, shortcuts, the natural look, hair coloring, locks, lock extensions and repair, and braids. They also offer nail, eyebrow, and eyelash services. Styles 101 is the local shop for Bethune-Cookman University, Embry-Riddle, and Daytona State College. For more information or to schedule an appointment, 386-872-6413. That's 386-872-6413. Styles 101 Beauty Salon and Barbershop.
Tune in every Thursday, 12 noon to Let's Chat America with your host, Reverend Dr. L. Ronald Durham. This is the city's most exciting hour of live, local, and national news and opinions here on Joy 106.3 FM. Call to share your own opinions with Dr. Durham on interesting topics and with his special guests. Let's Chat America every Thursday at 12 noon. Don't miss it.
My license was suspended because I couldn't afford to keep auto insurance on my car.
I only had one drink at the company's Christmas party and left to go home.
I had my sleeping medication in my pocket instead of the bottle it came in.
And we're arrested. I was confused, scared, and alone. I called One Way Out Bail Bonds and they gave me a ride home when I was released. And I was able to get back to work the next day with no interruptions.
You don't have to be a criminal to be arrested. If your friend or loved one is faced with this situation, One Way Out Bail Bonds can help. For more information, 386-214-6949 or Facebook One Way Out Bail.
One Way Out Bail Bonds.
Tune in to Daytona Beach Radio with your host, the Reverend Dr. L. Ronald Durham. This is the city's most exciting news and information program here on Joy 106.3 every Wednesday beginning at 12 noon. Don't miss it.
Dollar Trend Incorporated, located 1236 8th Street, Daytona Beach in the Derby Plaza. This is a Dollar Plus store and groceries are available as well. Dollar Trend Incorporated is open from 9 a.m. till 11 p.m. 7 days a week. For more information, call 386-872-7792. That's 386-872-7792. Dollar Trend Incorporated.
Dollar Trend is now selling African products. TLC Laundry Services is located at 1025 North Nova Road, Unit 112 in Holly Hill, and offers wash, dry, and fold services for all your laundry. TLC Laundry Services also accepts drop-offs with same-day or next-day pickup. All laundry supplies are included with your order. They also provide dry cleaning services. For more information or directions, 386-517-4056. That's 386-517-4056. TLC Laundry Services at 1025 North Nova Road, Unit 112 in Holly Hill. No downtime, no fuss, no mess.
Your source for praise and worship 24/7. Joy 106.3.
Special thanks and support to WAIG comes from R.J. Gaines Funeral Home, where Alexander C. Wynn III, licensed funeral director and owner. R.J. Gaines Funeral Home provides full burial services, entombment, cremation, transporting services, pre-planning arrangements, and consultations. R.J. Gaines Funeral Home is located at 804 Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard. R.J. Gaines Funeral Home, 386-253-7686.
Welcome back to the Locker Room, the second half of the show. Had a great first half, Mark.
Not bad, huh?
In NASCAR, we talked about little Bubba Wallace.
Yep.
Got them Wildcats in with the swipe.
Got the Wildcats in, bro, with the big news.
Now we're going to do a real flip.
Okay.
I have my uncle in ministry.
Wow.
Yeah, man. This guy I've known for over 25, 26 years. He's played an integral part in my life. He's the brother of my pastor, Apostle Carlos Malone. On the air right now, I got my elder, my uncle, Ricky Malone. Are you there, Rick?
How you doing, son?
Hey, man. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How's everybody doing this morning?
Everybody's doing well, man. Look, I tried to get you on the show a couple of weeks ago. And then Jackie calls me. I'm thinking it's you, so I'm getting ready to tell a joke when I answer the phone, and it was Jackie. And she explained that you had an accident. And I said, the devil is a liar. But
yes,
how have you recovered? You doing well?
Yeah, actually, Minister D, I'm way ahead of what they had expected me to be at this time. You know, considering the magnitude of the fall that I had, I fractured 5 ribs. I fractured my right arm and fractured my wrist. Had a contusion in my lung, and you know. And they expected me not to be moving around for at least 6 to 8 weeks. You know, but I'm up and about. I'm still, you know, I still got some pain. You know, still got some pain. But sometimes you have to push through the pain of a thing to get to the promise. So if I sit back and just hold on and wait till I'm pain free, I won't be doing nothing. And that's the place where the devil wants you to be. You know, and you know, so I wasn't surprised. You know, I wasn't surprised, but I got a surprise for him as well.
There you go. 5 ribs. Every time you breathe, that's a reminder that you hurt.
Absolutely. You know, but I tell you, man, you know, God has been so good to me in my life till this is nothing. You know, and sometimes we as believers, especially when you've gone through something, you know, when you've gone through something in your life and you know that it was only God that got you through it. It was only God that brought you out or delivered you from something. And when you understand that principle concerning your life, and you know that it have nothing to do with you, then when things arise again in your life, you have to trust the same God.
Exactly.
Because he's still the same God. And you know, and so
that's the essence of faith. Yeah.
Well, that's the point that I'm making.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to be willing to stand behind the faith that you say you have.
Yes. There you go.
Rick, listen. We're in the Central Florida area. They don't know your story. See, I used to work with you in ministry. We done slung some oil. We done slammed some demons in Miami and all over the country. But kind of enlighten the people what your story really is all about. The story. My story is a story of a lot of people. You know, a lot of people, and about deliverance. You know, as you know, Coach. You know, I was on crack cocaine for over 20 years. You know, over 20 years. I'm not saying 20 minutes or 20 days. 20 years, you know, and crack cocaine carried me further than I wanted to go and kept me longer than I wanted to stay, you know, and to the point to where, you know, it destroyed everything in my life. Everything, literally, jobs. I smoked up jobs. I smoked up cars, homes, relationships, friendships. You know, I put all that on the crack pipe. You know, and then I ended up leaving East St. Louis and then going to Atlanta, and then I left Atlanta and came here 24 years ago to Miami. I came here and still encountered the same problem, because the fact of the matter was I never left me nowhere. You know, everywhere I went, there I was. Yeah. You know. And so therefore, you know, I was the root of my problem. You know, crack cocaine was just what I chose to do. You know, and sometimes we have to be willing to say, you know, some mistakes, some stuff we don't fall into, some stuff we walk into. You know, and I ended up homeless.
Homeless, sleeping on the streets of Overtown, sleeping on the streets of Richmond Heights, living in abandoned buildings, sleeping on the sidewalks, wrapped up in blankets and plastic, eating out of trash cans, trash dumpsters, eating out of the trash cans in the mall, eating off the tables where people left their food there. That's what I did, and I spent my whole day hustling, stealing, shoplifting. They use the word boosting, but it's just a fancy term for shoplifting, and that's what I did, and I make $300-400 a day hustling, and I wouldn't put $2 or $5 back to get a Happy Meal, because I knew I was going to find me a dumpster or something to eat out of. And when I say eating out of a dumpster, I make it perfectly clear. Here's what I do, and Coach, you know this. I tell it like it is.
Come on now.
I don't try to say, oh, it wasn't that bad or I didn't do this, because, see, the problem is that most people just so ashamed of where God got them from, when at the same time there is no shame. If God brought you out of it, I want people to know I wasn't the easiest fish to catch. And I want people to understand what God had to go through to get me. And when I say eating out of trash dumpsters, I'm saying getting over into the trash dumpster, them big green dumpsters behind Publix and Church's Chicken and Wendy's and all those places. I got over there, and that's what I ate out of. That's why I ate out of, and I ended up living under a bridge. Living up under a bridge, sleeping on an old mattress with the gators in the canal. That's why I took my bath at.
Wow.
With rats, and waking up with rats crawling over me and palmetto bugs crawling all over me. Walking around not taking baths for weeks and weeks on end. Riding a bicycle with 2 flat tires, one Nike shoe on one foot and an Adidas tennis shoe on another. I was so thin I had to tie my pants up with a rope, man. Come on now. In and out of jail, in and out of jail, in and out of jail. That's when I went in, when I got caught and they took me to jail, I'm going on vacation. I'm going there to rest up for my next run. And I did that on a consistent basis. Lying, lying to people. And that's where it got me. That's where it got me. And it wasn't until 16 years ago, because let me tell you something. My message is to give people hope. And to let people know, yeah, you might be going through something, but God can fix that.
Yes, sir.
And God can fix that. And what happens is the religious is so busy trying to tell people, cause you done did this, you might have some women might have been a hooker, some might have been pole dancers, some alcoholics, drug addicts, and all that stuff. And people, the religious church have the audacity to tell people God can't use them. Well, I beg to differ, because look at what the 12 disciples was. Jesus didn't choose the deacons and trustees from the church. And God does his best shopping in the trash.
Okay.
And what happens is that I did all of that, and if a person just tell a lie, in the eyesight of God, we even. Because God don't have no respect to person. And it wasn't until 15, 16 years ago I had enough. See, I proved to myself what my life was like without God in it. Don't nobody have to interview me about it. I'll tell you myself. I proved that to myself. And after doing my 4th 364 and getting out of jail October 24th, 2004, prior to getting out, I was scared as all get up. Because I didn't know how to live sober. I didn't know how to live without smoking crack. But I made up in my mind, I said to God prior to giving out, if you just give me one more chance.
One more chance.
Just give me one opportunity to get this right. I'll do everything that you tell me to do. And I was sitting on my bunk. And the Spirit of the Lord said to me, that's all I've been waiting on you to do. See, when we understand God don't need our help, He wants our cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
And once I said to God, hey, just give me another shot at this. It's like saying from you guys are into sports. It's just like saying, just let me get in the game.
Right.
I've been sitting on the bench a long time. And so what happens is, once you get an opportunity to get in the game, now you got to make your mark known. Because you don't know if you won't ever get another opportunity to get in again. And so I made a decision, just put me in the game. See, put me in the game, just give me one more chance. And God understood. And He understood my heart. And all He said was, if you do everything that I tell you to do, I give you back everything that you allowed the enemy to steal from you. And I said, God, that sounds like a winner to me. And I'm telling you, I walked out of that jailhouse October after doing that was my fourth. I had almost 40 felony convictions. And God never allowed me to go to prison. I was always one day short. And this over years. And the day that I got out of jail, October 24th, 2004, I didn't have nowhere to go. My mother let me come to her house. And that day, this young lady came, dropped my sister off, Veronica, who is deceased now. She came, dropped her off, and she left. And the Lord said, go look out the window. And I looked out the window, and God told me, that's your wife.
A nurse. The nurse, your wife. Wow.
Nurse practitioner. And the Lord said that, and I said, now God, I know you know I ain't got no job.
Right.
All I have is what I have on. That's all I own. Was a G-Unit t-shirt that I bought for a bag of corn chips. I had a pair of jeans that I got for 200 bucks, and I had a pair of tennis shoes that I got for a Sunday dinner meal in the jailhouse.
And
that's all I had with my name.
She saw through that. At the potential.
And absolutely.
Wow.
Because see, all I had to offer her was a promise from God. And she saw the promise in me. And we've been married 15 years.
God bless you, bro.
Hey, Rick, listen, we only got like 2 minutes left in the segment, but tell the folks about the ministry that you have on Fridays now that you do with people who are addicts and people who are trying to recover or who have a substance problem or even a depression problem. Tell the folks about what you do on Fridays.
Okay, I haven't started back because I stopped because when I got hurt. But I'm gonna be starting back up in maybe another week or so. It's called Let's Talk Addiction with Elder Ricardo Malone. It's on Friday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a call in, and most times when people are struggling with an addiction is on Friday night when you get paid, and so I go on and I have, people call in. It's not just for drugs. It's just not just for drugs. It's for people that's dealing with depression, anxiety, and we just call in. I give an inspirational word and I listen. I listen and sometimes that's all people need.
Right.
That's all people need. Sometimes we have 10 people on. Sometimes we have one. But but my assignment from God is as long as I show up. And that's set up for those that that are dealing with, and it's called Let's Talk Addiction with Elder Ricardo Malone, and it's on Friday nights. I haven't started it back yet. I don't know when, maybe another week or so.
Okay.
But I will be back doing that, and I'll be posting about that.
Hey, man, I appreciate your call, man. We're out of time. Definitely never out of word. Love you, man, and I miss you guys. Listen to the locker room.
I miss you. Okay. All right, Coach.
Talk to you later.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
We're out of time, but we definitely not out of sports. Join me next Friday here on Joy 106.3. If you want to contact